Welcome. We'll start our lectures. Last class, we have seen the broad classification of what IKS Indian Knowledge System is all about. Let us go through the slides once and enter into the new topic. The course textbook, I hope you have noted down and either ordered or looked for it. It's Introduction to Indian Knowledge Systems by Mahadevan and others. In the overview, we have seen what was the importance of ancient knowledge and how it correlates to the present context. Then we have studied about the fourfold utility, basically about identity, culture, received wisdom, and economic value. And we focused little on economic value, suggesting how the old wisdom helps us develop certain economic value to the present researches that are going on. And we have defined Indian knowledge system, all the terms individually, where India being the whole undivided land in the ancient past, for the reasons that the wisdom accumulated was from the wide region rather than the politically marked India after the independence. And we have defined systematically what knowledge is and what system comprises of. Later on, we went into the framework of IKS. Everyone able to hear me and see, and slides are okay? Akash?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is the last time I'll disturb you before break. Be in your solace right now. So the three factors we discussed were about completeness, compactness, and interconnectedness. And the IKS corpus consisted of many varieties. First division corresponds to literary and non-literary. The second division corresponds to the Sanatana Dharma, other traditions, regional and oral traditions. The third division corresponds to the 14 varieties of wisdom, which are known as Chaturdasha Vidyasthanas, and applied sciences, Buddhism and Jainism, and knowledge encoded in all the regional languages, and arts and health, etc. Give me a minute. Yeah. Chaturdasha Vidyasthanas comprises of the Vedas, the Vedangas, the Puranas, Itihasas, Dharma Shastras and Smriti, Darshanas, and the other set of the Darshanas comprising Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. And Sanatana Dharma, other literature consists of the applied sciences, engineering and technologies, health and well-being, the morality issues, the called Niti Shastras, public administration, and arts. The other dharmic traditions comprised of Buddhism and Jainism, and we have seen certain works which contributed to the mathematical sciences in these areas. And we also discussed very briefly about the nonsense of the oral tradition as to how they are precise and specific and what domains they cover and how they preserved for generations of time the content of the wisdom without being deformed. Then we have discussed about the historicity of IKS, and this list I have given. If some of you couldn't see the list, now you can look at it. And this is what Professor Niyogi was suggesting to us about how to, tabulate different works from different areas so that the future generations can continue the purpose. And finally, in summary, we have seen that the ancient knowledge was preserved and transmitted orally for generations. Transforming knowledge into economic value has been fully formalized due to the patent rights. And India being one of the wealthiest nations in the knowledge, the present loss of patent and our own effort to put forward the researches held in the past will put our country's name in the forefront. The Vedas are the source of all the knowledge in the scheme of the IKS. So the topic for today will be about learning about the Vedas. Normal methods used to date literary cannot be used here, as I have already pointed out, as to, let's say you have written a letter about the idea that you had in your childhood. By looking at your letter, I can't know if it were really the idea of yesterday or from your child. So literary proof is not the only proof to know the antiquity of the work. IKS literature shows that a single work provides simultaneously the ideas on 3 domains which we have discussed. Has everyone written the answers for this? I know I said I would ask, but it would be practically impossible. So I will leave it for your discretion as to when to answer these. Maybe towards the end of the course, I will ask maybe submissions. Even I did not plan that. Let's see. Today's class is about foundations and one of the basic elements, that is the Vedic corpus. We'll be having some introduction and then about the 4 Vedas. I think the whole lecture today will concentrate on 4 Vedas. That itself is very vast. After that, we should learn about the 4-fold division, then the 6 Vedangas, the 5 Mahayajnas, and the features of Vedic life. This is the outline of this module. Before we even enter into the study of the Vedas, I thought I would share one personality that could inspire you all. Of course, there are many, many great personalities who has worked in IKS and has brought shine to the field. I have taken one example. It is your duty to learn more about other stalwarts. The person's name is Professor R.L. Kashyap. You can even see Prime Minister has shared a small post during his demise. Sorry, after his demise. Who is this Professor R.L. Kashyap? He was a professor of electrical and computer engineering and emeritus at Purdue University, USA. It is one of the most prestigious universities. He did his PhD from Harvard, and he has also directed many research students, approximately 40 PhD dissertations at Purdue. He developed the Ho-Kashyap rule in pattern recognition. His main work is in computers. By now you might have understood that he is well established in the scientific community, and he's not any general person with blank patriotism. This guy has done a solid research in the Western modern science. Not say guy, he's one of the yeah. He is also a fellow of the IEEE. Most of you are in the electronics and computers department will be soon the 3rd year or 4th year will be aiming to publish some papers in the IEEE journals. And to be a fellow in the IEEE is itself a prestigious achievement. Not anyone can just become an IEEE fellow. You must have done a good research. Someone's mic is on. Can you switch it off? Please check your mics once. What is he famous then for? How is he related to our IKS? Well, he has spent like around 20 years in decoding the Vedas. He has completely translated and commented upon all the 4 Vedas, consisting of 20,500 metrical verses into English. So for his contribution, the government of India awarded him with Padma Shri in 2021. Some of his works other than the whole translation that you can see at the central regions include Veda knowledge in modern context, why read Rig Veda, etc. And I think his writings will be most appealing to your generation because being a professor in computers and networking, he has understood the Vedas in the light of modern science. And the goal of IKS is to be like him and improvise on his path and achieve much greater heights. Of course, that is what is assumed by me for your exploration. No, I hope you guys are inspired enough. Other than Professor R.L. Kashyap, do you know anyone else who worked in IKS? Can someone tell few names who has been in a different field but did great work to the Vedas, Upanishads, and bringing out the sciences of the scriptures, be it a foreign author or an Indian author? Can anyone? Did Noor join? Anyone else also? Someone has to speak. No names? Whom should I call them? Okay, I'll proceed further. Someone, no one is replying. Either everyone is in meditative states, I guess. Let's proceed further. What is Veda? Veda means wisdom, the post-assimilated state of knowledge. For example, let us say you have eaten a sweet. In Jaipur, one of the sweets that I liked was Ghevar. But when I came to Hyderabad, how could I describe that sweet to someone? At most, I can describe its texture and its color, but I can't describe the taste if someone hasn't had it already, right? So the knowledge that the Ghevar is sweet or it is beautiful, it is mouth-watering, etc., can only transform into wisdom or an experience if someone already tasted it or will taste it after listening to us. So the verbal communication is only half the truth. And so Rachit Singh, some raised hand. What is it? Kushagra also raised hand. Kushagra? Okay, hope. I have no questions. I will continue. Where was I? The post-assimilated state of knowledge. So unless you had tasted the sweet, you wouldn't possibly know the true meaning of what the sweet is. So we call Veda is that post-assimilated state of knowledge. Most people get confused by the word Veda and Vedic text. Yeah, Kushagra, are you there? Mr. Kushag? Mr. Kushag? Okay. He has been raising hands some, I don't know why. The textbook, let's say mathematics we have taken. The information contained in mathematics textbook is only knowledge. If a second standard student opens a 10th standard textbook, they wouldn't understand completely because they don't have certain tools to decode the information. So we can't say the math textbooks itself is knowledgeable. Only when one studies the math textbook and imbibes the knowledge inside them, it becomes the post-assimilated state, and that becomes the math inside it. So mathematics is different from the math textbook. Similarly, the Veda is different from the Vedic text. Vedic text may have certain date of writing or encoding, but the Veda itself doesn't have any date, because how can you date an information that is the truth of nature? Like 2 + 2 = 4. There is no dating for that fact. But if someone has first time encoded the fact in a literary form, then there will be a dating for it. In that context, often people say that the Veda has been as long as the creation was, or Veda is immortal, Veda is infinity, so on and so forth. The real meaning is this, that the content that it conveys is the imperishable infiniteness, or the truth of the cosmos. One of the postulates of Nirukta, one of the limbs of the Veda, states that Namani Akhyatagnyatniti Nirukta Samayaha. What it means is, Veda has no proper nouns or any nouns in their denotative sense. So whenever you hear the words like Indra, Varuna, Vritra, Vishnu, Rudra, Shiva, etc., they are not proper nouns, which means they are not indicating personalities as we often imagine. So if at all someone says that in your Veda there are so many gods, you can show the statement and say that the Veda itself claims that the names that occur in the Veda are not proper nouns or any denotative nouns, which means they are related to more general form of nomenclature, which determine the faculties of powers or principles in nature, you could say. So Vedic text was authored, but Veda was actually revealed to the seers in their deep meditative contemplations. Like most of our students right now are in their meditative states, not responding. But I think the seers' meditative states were more conscious than unconscious. The Veda is apaushaya, meaning impersonal. This is the reason why they say that the Veda hasn't been written by a human. So we should not misunderstand it that if I say mathematics hasn't been written by human, that doesn't mean that I or you or someone did not write the textbook. The whole math fundamentals itself hasn't been written down. We have only discovered and condensed it to our palatable tongue so that we can understand the truth found by a mathematician. Similarly, the Veda, yes, has been written by seers. That is why we call it the Vedic text, and hence we say Vedic text was authored. But the Veda itself, the content of the text has been revealed to the seer rather than that is what we call as discovery. But here we can say a little more better term called a revelation. And that is why we say apaurushaya. That means he has or she has no direct relation in discovering the fact, but in certain state of contemplating on certain fact of the universe, the truths automatically sprout. You can take a very simple example. When a very tough questions are given in an exam and you try to answer, the moment you see the question, there is no answer in your head yet. But after a while of contemplation, the answer simply sprouts like the wave in an ocean or a bubble from a surface, right? So from where did that answer come? If you analyze, then you will understand how the Vedas have been revealed to the seers. So Veda was mainly transmitted through oral traditions. In the very olden days, it was mostly oral. And then later on, they have converted that oral tradition to literary as well as oral, so as to preserve in a wider context. And the Vedas have been recognized by UNESCO as a heritage. Does someone have any questions or any points to make in this regard? Mr. Sakash, you can suggest something in a husky voice without disturbing the library. And if you know any of your friends' names, you can point their name and they can start speaking. You there, Sakash? Every device something. Mr. Sakash, the last time I'm asking, are you there? Okay. There are two approaches informed in the Veda, and those approaches are called Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. What is Karma Kanda and what is Jnana Kanda? Kanda means the path. One path suggests that the actions purify knowledge, leading to wisdom. For example, I think you all have attended some of the physics laboratory experiments. Some of you already know some experiments, some of you do not know the experiment. But while doing the experiment, you learn many things. And then by doing, your knowledge of the experiment improves. We call it the Karma Kanda. That means the action leading to knowledge and wisdom. There are other set of students who first want to read the hypothesis and approach and everything in the lab manual. Then using the knowledge, they want to attempt and then check for themselves as to if their knowledge is syncing with the practical aspect of an experiment. We call this the Jnana Kanda, or knowledge purifying the action. Instead of seeing that the Veda is bifurcated into two parts, saying that some of the Veda is only action, some of the Veda is only knowledge, etc. One can in fact cyclically correlate the action part with the knowledge part to coherently understand what Veda is trying to imply. And that coherence of actions and knowledge synchronizing with each other in a meditative state, we call it upasana. Upasana means upa-asana. Asana means to sit. Upa means very close. So we are sitting closer to the truth by correlating and synchronizing the path of action and the path of knowledge. This is the premise in the Veda, and hence many times we see a Vedic hymn is utilized both in a yajna or a drama of fire ritual, as well as in a philosophical purport in a commentary. How many Vedas are there? Usually people say there are 4 Vedas. Well, in fact, Veda is one, and there are 4 dimensions to the Veda is actually a correct statement to utter. Those dimensions are Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharvana Veda. So these Vedas have been in the nation of India, undivided India, for a very long time. By the time of Veda Vyasa, things have been much haphazard. So Veda Vyasa or Krishna Dvaipayana has accumulated and categorized systematically the Vedas into 4 dimensions. And then he handed over the wisdom to 4 students of his, who then disseminated the wisdom to further on. And this is what we see as shakhas. Shakha means certain branch of a Veda. So Rig Veda was given to Paila, Samaveda was given to Jaimini, Yajurveda was given to Vaishampayana, and Atharvana Veda was given to Sumantu. These are the four sages. Who are they? The Paila, the Vaishampayana, Jaimini, and Sumantu. These are the four sages who took that particular aspect of the undivided Veda and passed it on to the further generations to come. These Vedas, all the Vedas combinedly have three types of mantras. What are the types of mantras? First type is Rik. Rik is a mantra having a definite metrical structure based on number of syllables. This, I think we have spoken last time about poetry, right? The poetry, certain syllables or certain meters have a certain effect on the mood of a person. And in Veda also, depending on the different meters that are used, certain import will be handed down to us based on the context that the Rishi is trying to contemplate upon. And out of those metrical verses, we have what are known as Rik. So Rik itself means two things. One, the sound that is produced in your vocals, like kind of a sound that comes in your vibration of two vocal cords, as well as Rik means the light that is coming from the sun. It's like a light ray. So to suggest that the whole creation is an interplay of light and sound in a very poetic manner, the word Rik has been used for these mantras. It has both the melody of the sound as well as the light of the wisdom associated with mantra itself. Then we have what are known as samas. Sama means something that is sung. So when you take a Rik mantra and then you start elaboratedly singing it in a different styles, we call it a sama gana. Gana means to sing. So this sama, as you can see, it is dependent on the Rik mantra. Without the Rik, the sama isn't there. So sama is taking the Rik as its root and then expanding upon the Rik. When the Rik is giving you the potency of the purport, sama is trying to impart the melody, and it is the melody that tries to imprint the feeling in you. For example, if you watch some movies or series, etc., you have a background score. If you remove the background score and watch, and then you put the background score and watch, don't you think you will have a different feeling to it? So that is what the Samaveda is about. To bring in the background score, or to bring in the feeling contained in our emotion or in our inner sense to the sound aspect, the Samaveda has developed to build on the musical marvel to the Rik mantras. Then the third category are called Yajus mantras. So Yajus means something that is prose. It is a mantra, but of a rhythmic prose, and usually it is short. Thus, we have three categories of the mantras: the Riks, the Sama, and the Yajus. Once again, to recap, Rik is both the light and the sound aspect contained in a context. Sama brings in the melody due to the periodicity and the music associated with the Rik mantra. And the Yajus suggests a short prose, though rhythmic, and helps in usually the rituals that will be going on. It is very important to note at this context that all the four Vedas, the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Sama Veda, the Atharvana Veda, have intermix of these things. For example, Rig Veda has only Riks, yes, but not all the Riks are in Rig Veda. Raghav Kandelwal, mute your mic, Mr. Raghav. Mr. Raghav, yes, thank you. The Samaveda has all the some of the Rik mantras. Yajurveda has both Riks and Samas in it. Atharvana Veda has both Riks, Yajus, and Samas in it. Therefore, we have an intermixture of these things in all the Vedas. Okay. If you draw a Venn diagram for the Veda, sharing is paused. We'll go back to the window. Someone came 1 minute. Somehow my screen skipped. Is my screen back for the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Gautam? Okay. So if you draw a Venn diagram for the Vedas in terms of what mantras and how much overlapping is there between different Vedic texts, we see that the Rig Veda itself has 10,500 mantras around. Then the Samaveda, most of the mantras are from the Rig Veda except for a very, very few, like 100 or 200 out of the Veda, Rig Veda. Then you have Yajurveda and Atharvana Veda with 8,000 and 5,000 mantras, out of which some are in common and some are not in common with the Rig Veda. As you already noted, the Rig Veda itself is much largest of all the existing Vedic texts that we have. And it is also the oldest in terms of the literary text that is available to us. But in the Veda itself, you will see that the Rig Veda is born out of Samaveda, Samaveda is born out of Rig Veda, and so on and so forth, which are very symbolic to the meanings associated with these Vedas. If time permits, I'll explore that in the later stage. Let us now enter into the Rig Veda. Rig Veda is one of the oldest and biggest of all the Vedic texts. It has 10 mandalas. A mandala is basically a canto, you can say. Each mandala, in total, there are 85 anuvakas. There are different words we are using here. Each word means either it is a topic or a subtopic. The mandala is like a chapter, anuvaka is like a subchapter. And sukta means a total hymn, like you have Purusha Sukta, etc. They are hymns or prayers, you can say. I mean, prayer is a very loose word. Sukta actually means su ukta. Ukta means to utter, bolna. Su means good. So अच्छा चीजों को बोलना is sukta. Here अच्छा चीजें माने basically it is either in praise of God or praise of your own self or praise of our intelligence or praise of the natural beauty, etc. And in total, Rig Veda has 10,552 mantras. What is a mantra? And how is mantra different from what we utter usually? Hindi में मैं बात करूँ या तेलुगु में बात करूँ या English if I speak, versus a mantra that we utter like Om Namah Shivaya or some mantras are there that you all know, the Gayatri mantra and others. A mantra is what is believed to be by the sages is that a mantra is a set of syllables stringed such a way that it protects the utterer. So that is called a mantra. Mananan trayate iti mantraha, they say. That means mananan, as you recite and repeat itself, trayate, protects the whoever is repeating it. So as you repeat, as you contemplate, that which protects his mantra, and there are 10,000 such mantras in the Rig Veda. And just like if I ask you how many scientists are there in physics, you will give certain number of X number of scientists who has contributed to this field, that field, and so on, so field. You have 400 rishis contributed to the Rig Vedic mantras that we are speaking about. Among them, 25 are women. The textbook that we are following says 25, but Professor R.L. Kashyap in his work says there are more than 40 women saints in the Rig Veda. So if someone tells you that Veda shouldn't be uttered by women or the mantra should be uttered by a girl or a woman, it is very wrong because you can show this fact and suggest that, look, the Veda itself was discovered by some of the women. If that is the case, how can you say that women can't be eligible to learn the Veda? So this one aspect, as a modern day educated beings, we should try to bring the gender neutrality into wherever it is possible. Of course, we should not impose it wherever it is rigid, but wherever it is possible for self-development, you should try to bring it in, keeping all the sentiments of the wider audience in check, because we wouldn't want to hurt anyone's sentiments in our rebellious thoughts. If that is the scenario, then our country would go much, much farther with the mutual help. In fact, I think our country is very good at it because we have catered for so many varieties of cultures without causing much disturbance, other than for political reasons, due to some individuals' personal gains. So as a whole, there are many cultures in India which seamlessly exist. And that is because our roots have been in the Veda, which itself is much secular than what we actually claim the secularism in India to be right in this day. So we need to take the secular ideas from the Veda itself. Coming back, there are 14 Devata categories in this Rig Veda. Who is a Devata? Devata is basically a cosmic principle or a psychological ability. You give a name, for example, Indra is the Lord of Mind, Varuna, the Lord of Rain or Lord of Envelopes, etc. We'll see these definitions a little later. So all such kind of devas can be categorized into certain classes based on the functionality, and such functionalities are encoded in this Vedic text. Some important hymns that everyone should know and learn to recite, whoever is interested, are Purusha Sukta, Sri Sukta, Nasadiya Sukta, Hiranyagarbha Sukta, Suparna Sukta, Agni Sukta, Vishnu Sukta, Indra Sukta, Pavamana Sukta, and Saraswati Sukta. Out of these, I have written a book on Purusha Sukta, a journey through the Vedic thought and exploration of Purusha Suktam. Like this, I have written 2 more books also, and when the context comes, I will share it with you. These are available in Amazon, and you can get it if you wish. Basically, Purusha Sukta deals with hymn on cosmic personality. Sri Sukta deals with you can say the world mother. Nasadiya Sukta deals with the existence and non-existence and the existence of non-existence aspect. Hiranyagarbha Sukta deals with the birth of light from nothingness. Suparna Sukta deals with the vast variety of topics. I can't comment on one. Agni Suktam deals with, of course, the Agni, the fire. Vishnu Suktam deals with the aspect of space that is pervading. Indra Sukta deals with Indra, the cosmic mind. Pavamana Sukta deals with the Pavamana, and Saraswati with Saraswati. Though Saraswati, I think everyone knows, the goddess of education and wisdom. Pavamana, if I remember correctly, is about the air and the birth of fire and air together. These are only few hymns out of the 10,000 mantras that I quoted that are widely known, and usually when you go to temples, the priests recite one of these suktas in their mantras. I also have written an English translation of a Telugu commentary on Suparna Sukta that is yet to be published. Okay, what is the message in the Rig Veda? Of course, we can't condense the 10,000 mantras into a simple slide, but if we need to condense a little bit, just a flavor, a hint of what it's trying to say, we can take one of the greatest stalwart, Sri Aurobindo, as a statement into picture. Sri Aurobindo, usually we hear his name in freedom fighting moments because he was one of the key fighters who wrote a lot of, if you heard ever, I don't remember, there was a I don't remember the name, sorry. He has written some journal articles and then he fought a lot. But after that, when he was jailed, in a jail, he started to self-retrospect and then he went into deep meditations and slowly he moved to Pondicherry in Tamil Nadu and he established an ashram and he became a saintly person. Not just any saint, he has also commented upon Veda, Upanishads, and Mahabharata a lot more than what we could imagine. He has written thousands and thousands of pages. Right now in the West, his books like The Secret of the Veda or The Life Divine are being research topics for their PhD thesis. Imagine that. So he says in one of the contexts that in sober truth, the Vedanta, Purana, Tantra, the philosophical schools, and the great Indian religions do go back in their source to Vedic origins, which means all that we see today, either atheism or theism, both in their different varieties, are all rooted in the Veda. How? I hope you know what atheism and theism means. Theism माने the person जो भगवान को मानते, atheism माने भगवान को नहीं मानते. Both of them will be in the Veda because there are many Vedic hymns which do not take a particular deity, भगवान को नहीं लेते, but वो abstractly. Rachit, kindly mute yourself. Mr. Rachit. I wish I had ability to mute, but when I'm sharing screen, I'm having no. Okay, we'll go forward. Where was I? Yeah, atheism and theism. So, for example, if you take Nasadiya Sutta, it speaks about the existence and non-existence in terms of abstract rhetorical questions for us to think. Therefore, when you think in a non-personal God, you are actually thinking in terms of the vast existence as it is, which is what the modern science is trying to find as to what the existence itself means. Like Max Planck in his Nobel Prize speech have coined a statement saying that it is consciousness that actually unites the search for all the truth in the science, right? So like that, we have many thoughts which are not attributed to one particular deity, but there are other hymns which are attributed to particular deity as well. But do they actually are pointing to the deity or are they actually trying to broadly speak? You'll see later, I'll come to the topic soon. The hymns are highly mystical, esoteric, and poetic in style. Esoteric means they hide the truth from the first sight. The moment you read something, it feels, this seems very odd. Why is it like that? But when you go a step further, then you will find the depth inside. Like when they teach Fourier transforms in mathematics, at the first sight, Fourier transforms seem like meaningless tool, like you're just integrating an e power something with a function. So what? But then when you go into optics and then start applying the Fourier transforms to the optics and understand how the image formed and it's a planar image is being nothing but the Fourier transform of the light that is coming in, then you will realize the magic that Fourier transform has much deeper utility than what we have thought. Similarly, when you read a Vedic hymn, at a first sight, it will give you non-correlated, meaningless gist. But when you go step by step, slowly and steadily under the guidance of those who have already understood the Veda, you will see that it has much depth behind the wheel of its literal meaning. If you take the Suparna Sutta that I was saying, there is one line there. Ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. That means truth is one, but the learned ones articulate in different ways. And after that statement, you will see that Mitra, Varuna, Agni, all the different gods that they are speaking in the Rig Veda are but different limbs of one omnipresent Lord. So such kinds of unity and diversity is widely expressed in the Rig Veda. Then we have from Purusha Sutta, Sahasra Sirisha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. For example, if I tell this line to, let's say, Sakash or Raghav or whoever, and if I give the literal meaning, literally, it would actually suggest Sahasra means 1,000. So they would say, sir, this line means there are 1,000 heads, 1,000 eyes, and 1,000 feet, because Aksha means eyes. Sahasrapat means 1,000 feet. But if I have 1,000 heads, shouldn't I have 2,000 eyes? Why did there's only 1,000 eyes? If I have 1,000 heads, I should have 2,000 feet. Why only 1,000 feet? So it's not about the exact number of heads and eyes and feet that they are actually speaking. The deeper meaning could be as follows. Because Sahasra can also be infinite, it is called Anantavachi word. And Purusha means Pura Isha. Isha means Lord, Pura means the body. So the being inside us, whom you call as yourself. I am so and so. We have three aspects in nature. What does a being do? It gathers the information from outside, it processes the information, and it reacts to the information. Right? Any robot that you build, like Sophia that is currently existing, right? Very interesting robot with nice artificial intelligence. What does it do? It is built in the image of a human. So it takes in the information from outer world, processes it, then reacts to the information. So to process, you need a head. To take information, you need eyes. Here, eyes are symbolical to the sense organs which are intaking the information. And the feet are symbolic to the locomotion or the transport or the interaction that you are making with the outer world. So in saying Sahasra Sirisha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat, the seer is trying to say that the Purusha or the being inside us, who is manifested as the infinite beings around, has only three aspects: to process, to gather, and to react. So in this way, if you understand, you'll get the most secular, logical, scientific understanding of what a Vedic text is trying to suggest. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Hello. I'm trying to explain what I have understood and what you need to understand. If you don't understand or if you have doubts, yes, you need to ask questions. Don't ask me administrative questions. Ask me subjective questions right now. Noor, any comments? Any suggestions?
Excuse me, sir.
Who is this?
Sir. Sir, this is Dhruv.
Yeah. Dhruv, please
Sir,
tell me.
Can you please repeat that thing that you said? We have 1,000 heads, but only 1,000 eyes, not 2,000.
Yeah. So first, the literal meaning suggests that Sahasra Sirsha, the Purusha or the being inside, has 1,000 heads. Sahasra means 1,000. Sirsha means the head. He has 1,000 eyes and 1,000 feet. That's what the literal meaning is. But if you take the literal meaning, it is mostly illogical, because if we consider 1,000 heads, we are considering 1,000 human beings. Then they have 2,000 eyes, or we should say 1,000 pairs of eyes. But the dve or the pair word hasn't been used here. So it gives us illogical incoherence in understanding, right? Instead, if you take the inner meaning that the head is a processing unit, eye is an information gatherer, and the feet are the receptor or the reaction occurring after an information has been taken in, then you understand that we are describing in this first statement that the Purusha is engaged by a body which has three fundamental aspects: that it has a processing unit, it has a sensor, and it has a locomotion unit. In a way, we are describing the creation in an artistic and a poetic way. This is what the seer is trying to explain as one dimension of it. Now, do you understand, Dhruva?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
one of my very favorite shlokas from the Rig Veda is the following, and those ever who are interested, mostly like Dhruv, you're interested, Noor, Sakash, and other people. I can't remember 300 names, but whoever is interested, listen very carefully, and you can contemplate on this. And this is a very interesting idea you might have not explored until now. It is called the Chatwari concept in the Veda. The shloka reads as follows: Chatwari va parimita padani tani vidur brahmanaye manishina kuha trini nihita nengayanti turiyam vacho manushya vadanti. You need not know the pronunciation, not required. If you know, it's okay. If you do not, don't worry. But the meaning is that Chatwari vak, the word is of 4 types or 4 parts. What is the word here? Whatever statement you are uttering, apparently it is of 4 stages. Now, the seer is saying that those who know this are the intelligent and intellectual Brahmins. Again, this is the English translation, and it shouldn't be translated like this. I translated like this to show how it is not to be translated, because if you say intellectual Brahmins, the Brahmin word in the present context of India is related to a caste, but in the Veda, the Brahmin means the one who walks the path of the Brahma or the Brahma Vidya. It's like whoever does science research is called a scientist. Whoever does the research on the Brahma is called the Brahmin. That's what the coining of the word was in the past. So that is why this statement itself is saying that only those we can call as Brahmins or the ones in the Brahmapatha who knows that the word is of 4 parts. And also the fact that out of the word, 3 parts are hidden and only the 4th part is being spoken by humans. By looking at this meaning, is it clear or is it very vague? Dhruva, when you read the statement.
Sir, it seems kind of vague. Because
is it clear or is it vague?
when we see the English meaning, it seems different, and when you explain it, it seems different.
Okay. Even then, even if I explain what are the 4 stages and what does it mean by 3 parts hidden, that is still vague, right?
Yes, sir.
So to understand that, let us try to do an experiment. All of you can try to imagine, or you can utter a word like, I like apple. The fruit apple, okay, and not the phone apple. We don't have that much luxury right now. So utterance of I like apple. If I have uttered, let's say Tejaswi has uttered, I like apple. We call this Vaikhari Vak. Vaikhari means that which has been uttered aloud, so you can hear it and you can understand. What is the stage behind that utterance? We have a concrete thought as to I should say I like apple in my mind. So it is a blueprint. Okay. I have a blueprint that I want to utter I like apple. We call it Madhyama Vak because it is in between myself and the outer world. And it is just the signals need to go to my vocals to produce the sound I like apple in a physical form. We call it Madhyama Vak. Then we have a very hazy, cloudy idea as to what to utter. That means if I go one step before, I was thinking, should I say I like apple or should I say I like vanilla ice cream? Should I say, I like LNMIIT? What should I say? So that hazy idea that come to my mind. In fact, when I was making this slide, I should have thought something, right, before even typing it in. That before blueprint stage, that which is cloudy and which is not so clear, we call it Pashyanti Vak. And even before that, I should have an impulse to speak. I should have an impulse to write it down on the slide. Otherwise, I would have closed the lid and went to play badminton and came back, or went to play football and came back. Unless I get an impulse to write, I wouldn't write. Now go in the reverse way. First stage of utterance of any statement from you is that you should have an impulse to speak. So Paravak is the first stage. Now look at the diagram. The leftmost one is the first stage. Then you have a a hazy idea as to what to utter, pashyanti. Then you have madhyama as to mental solid blueprint as to what to utter. Now, are not all these three parts hidden inside you? I can't know your impulse. I can't know your cloudy stage. I can't know your mental blueprint. If you just sit and keep thinking, how will I know? So 3 stages of the word are hidden, whereas 1 stage is manifested, which is the Vaikariva. That I can hear, and only after knowing that I can infer that all these 3 stages you have been thinking about uttering this. So to repeat, you have an impulsive stage to speak, then you have a cloudy stage of speaking, you have a blueprint stage of speaking, and you have physical speaking. Now you go back to Chatvari Vak Paramita Padani. He says the 3 stages of the Vak are inside the Guha. Guha means your heart. Guha Trini. Trini means 3. And only 1 part is being uttered by those who know the Veda. So the gist of this shloka is that in this world, take up any task. Let's say you want to start a project. You are given a task as to what to do at the end semester project. Then you'll all sit together and start discussing. Even to discuss, first an impulse to discuss should come, otherwise you'll be sleeping and without even attending your group meeting. Once your discussion starts, a hazy idea starts. You just jot down the points. After that, it comes to a solid blueprint as to, okay, I now know what project I should work on. And finally, your project will be manifested and the other people will. And this is the case that Sarthak is listening to very beautiful songs. Maybe he should share with us. Anyway, after these 4 stages.
So is this shloka all about self-awareness? Like we should be aware of the four stages of where the thought is actually coming from. So, and those, and sir, actually those who are self-aware.
Please ask once again. Can you ask a little louder and harder? I'm trying to.
Sir, I'm saying that this shloka basically tells us about the 4 stages of where actually a thought comes from a para,
yes.
then a Padyami, and then whatever it is, the point stage, then the cloud stage, then the stage of mental blueprint, and then the stage of physical manifestation. So in these 4 stages, so actually I think this shloka is basically saying that the ones who are self-aware are actually the intelligent ones. So it's basically us telling us that if you're aware of your own thoughts, if you know where those thoughts are occurring from, then those are the intelligent Brahmas.
Those are the intellectuals. Those actually have understood what it means to be knowing Brahma or the God. In Vedas, Brahma doesn't mean the creator. Brahma means the omnipresent God. So from where are the thoughts occurring? You actually stated a very beautiful statement there. This has been the whole point of all the philosophy in the West as well as the East, right? Who am I? Where am I? Or whence am I? From where have I come from? To understand that, you should understand the thoughts. The reason is, it is said in the Veda, one of the claims in the Veda is that the creation is an ideation of the thought of whoever is the God omnipresent. Let's say they say that the whole creation is a thought inside a mind of some higher being. We have explored this kind of idea in the movie Inception, if you have thought, right? If you have watched the movie Inception, there is an aspect that there is a dream inside a dream inside a dream. So you would never know which one is the absolute reality and which one is the dream. Of course, you would know, but others cannot know for sure of your reality. So if you ask me, sir, are you real or am I real? The only answer I can give is whether you are real or not, only you can answer. As long as I am concerned, rest of the creation may be just a holographic imagination as well. We do not know. Now, there's a beautiful book once.
But sir, we do know that there is some sort of coherence here. That say, if I'm looking at a building and you're also looking at a building and we're both describing the same thing, then we know that at least something is there.
Yes, very good. It's a beautiful topic to discuss. Let's say you have seen a red color and I have seen a red color. I have told it is red color. You also told it is red color. But since my childhood, let's say I have been watching the green color and I have been taught that it is red. How do someone know that your red and my red are the same red?
That depends
See,
on like the nurturing actually.
It exists. Pardon?
So that actually depends on like how we have been nurtured. If we are nurtured differently, because then we'll learn different things. If we
Not
learn
about
different
nurturing. I'm
things,
talking about the perception. This is called cognitive science, right? When mind tries to perceive, let's say there is a wavelength, and wavelength immaterial to you and to me, it's constant of red light. But once it enters our eye and the signal enters our brain, how can we be sure as to the brain processing that wavelength of the same experience? This is where there is a debate in cognitive science as to how to prove that the color that you see and I see are one and the same. Because there are, for example, some people see only shades of colors. They can't see full spectrum of shades. Some people can see full spectrum of one single color shades. So when you show them and say this is this shade like magenta, cyan, etc., for them it will all feel like one color. They'll be agreeing with you, or they might be thinking they might be seeing a less darker intensity or brighter intensity, but no one is, a third person is unsure as to if you both are seeing the same color or not. Therefore, spiritual evolvement or the Vedic kind of statements are for self-exploration more than group understandings. That is why they said, whoever has understood in his own research, they will be in the path of the Brahma. That is what they meant.
so every single individual actually has their own perception of this world, and this
That I can't
basically.
That's what I'm saying. We cannot definitely say whether they have their own individual perception, or we are all having same person, yet we are thinking we have individual perception. Right?
We cannot actually we cannot compare.
Speaking, I still need a complete proof for that.
But the main point is the perception is definitely unique, but whether the perception is same or not is something we cannot say. That's the main point?
Yes, same or not we can't. Similar we can. Is that statement summarizes?
Yeah.
Instead of being congruent, they are similar. Does that answer?
Yes, sir, that answer.
Good. That is best. Very nice. Who was that?
Sir, Aditya.
Aditya. Thank you for an invigorating discussion. After Rig Veda, we have Samaveda. So Samaveda is the earliest known systematic procedure that gives melodious rhythm for chanting. If you ever heard, like one small example I give, in a single state, we have different accents, right, of the same language. Like in Jaipur, in Rajasthan, when I was, the same Hindi was having a touch of a Marwadi accent or Rajasthani accent. I don't know what to call it. There is a Ana, the letter Ana being used more widely there. Now, if you go to Kerala, the way they speak has a certain melody to it. Like they speak in a tune. If you go to Andhra or Tamil Nadu, they speak more like a prose than a little tune. So in normal language speaking itself, we have certain tune and certain feel and certain rhythm to it. When the Vedic hymns are categorized and needed to be safeguarded to transmit, and also to transmit the extra dimension of feeling along with the information. So Samaveda style has took birth to give the extra dimension of melody to the already known Veda called Rig Veda. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna states, Vedanam Samavedo Asmi. That means among the Vedas, I am Samaveda. Well, Bhagavad Gita is a very later scriptures, and we shouldn't much correlate from Bhagavad Gita to Vedas. You should correlate Vedas to Bhagavad Gita later on. But what does Krishna means when he says Vedanam Samavedo Asmi? Why should he be Samaveda and why not other Vedas? Aditya, any comment on that?
Because he's describing himself as the most melodious one, that maybe through him we get enlightenment or something.
Yes, one point is correct. Basically, in that chapter, 10th chapter, Krishna tries to tell all the positive things in the world and tries to show that he is that positive. That doesn't mean he is positive, means he in the state of Godhood position he's speaking that. So it's a kind of an instruction to the disciple as to focus on the positivity in life and try to acquire more of it so that you will be closer to what is known as Godhood. Among Vedas, if he says he's Samaveda, there must be much more deeper meaning, because other Vedas are also pious, they are not impure, and they have their own much importance. So here we should understand that Samaveda in the Veda itself actually means the periodicity. Because Sama not only means a song, it means periodicity, the periodical occurrence of something. So in the signals and systems, when you go, you have a difference between a periodic signal and an aperiodic signal. A periodic signal is one that occurs at every constant interval of time. If you take the creation is understood by the seers as a periodical occurrence and disappearance. So they called the periodical occurrence, disappearance of the creation, and hence the imbibed nature of your thoughts, your sleep, the days, the nights, the seasons, everything that is periodical in the world is coined under one name called Sama. And when Krishna was trying to say he's Samaveda, he means that the wisdom in the periodicity and the periodical occurrence, what governs the periodicity, the time. So he is indirectly the time aspect in the universe. That was the meaning. This is only for those who are interested in extra depth. Let's move a little forward. Was that helpful? Aditya, Sakash, and Noor, and others? Did I give an extra dimension?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This Veda has two parts, the Samaveda. First part, we call it Yoni mantras. That means the womb of the mantras, the source text for the mantras. Whatever from the Rig Veda it has taken, it has been accumulated in the first part of the Veda called the Yoni mantra of the Samaveda. Taking these first part as the source now, they start to elongate, reiterate, and sing in a different tones. Now, of course, when I say melody, it doesn't mean the melody as to the modern ear, because the modern ear's melody is different from the ancient ear's melody. The music that we usually like changes from generation to generation, from era to era. But the melody there means after fighting or resisting the change in the melody that you first hear the Samaveda, after some time, as you keep on hearing, slowly you will enter into a nice calmness. In that calmness, you will find some beauty unknowingly, and that is the melody that we are speaking here. And that is the actual Samaveda's melody. How many varieties of Samaveda are there? Variety means the ways of singing. You have, yeah, someone saying something.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello. Okay. So we have Gayatri Sama, the Brihat Sama, Radhantari Sama, Mahavairaja Sama, and Gosama, etc. All this Sama means the different ways of periodicity occurring in the hymn, and the way you sing, making a different meaning to the same hymn. Each of the Samagana mantra has 6 elements. Someone's mic is on. Can you switch it off? Can everyone check their mics once again? Okay. The Samagana mantra has 6 elements associated with it. One, we call it Varna and Swara. Basically, Varna means the syllable that you are uttering, and the Swara means the stress you are giving to the syllable, called the accent. Then you have Matra and Balam. Matra means how much duration you are elongating a mantra, and Balam means the effort that you are putting to that duration. Then we have Sama. Mr. Rohit Bondada Rohit. Can you mute your mic? Unless you have a question. Mr. Rohit, please mute your mic. Okay. We have Sama, the even tone. Even tone meaning how to utter the tones in a particular level without changing the pitch. And we have finally the Santana or the context. These 6 are the 6 elements of the Samagana mantra. Varna, Swara, Matra, Balam, Sama, Santana. These are the 6 elements we have for a Samagana or the singing of the Sama. From Samaveda, it is said that the Indian classical music took its birth. Some of you might have already heard Hindustani and Carnatic music, out of which Hindustani is Persian affected Carnatic music, and Carnatic music is the pure Indian music that exists. Yet Carnatic doesn't mean from Karnataka state. The word Carnatic means something pleasing to the ears. Karna means ears. There is a shloka in Naradiya Siksha. Siksha means the manual that helps us utter the Veda in a proper order. It says, Shadjam vadati mayuro, gavo rambati charishabham, aja viketu gandharam, krauncho vadati madhyamam, pushpasadharane kale kokilo vakti panchamam, ashwastu dhaivatam vakti nishadam vakti kunjaraha. Basically, you all know the 7 swaras in the music. Sa, Ri, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni. Those Sarigama Padani are nothing but Shadja, Rishabha, Gandhara, Madhyama, Panchama, Dhaivata, and Nishada in the Vedic parlance and music parlance. They are saying if someone do not know how to, if let's say they do not have a guru right away, and if they want to understand how the soundings of these swaras, would be on an average, they have given certain animals and birds sounds at particular seasons and times. When you hear them, you can associate with these swarasthanas. So Shadja or the Sa occurs from Mayura or the peacock. Rishabha, Ri occurs from the bull's roar. Gandhara, Ga comes from Aja or goat. Madhyama, Ma occurs from Krauncha or the heron. Panchama, Pa occurs from the kokila or the koel. Dhaivata, Da occurs from Ashwa, the horse, and Nishada, Ni occurs from Kunjara or the elephant. So these are the sounds associated with the animal or bird. If anyone wants to note down, you can note it down. So these are kind of the things which are mostly good in having a general knowledge of. We don't, if someone asks you why is Riga, Mapadani like what it is, we can say our reference point is in the nature and we have taken different sounds of nature as our reference. Why only these beings? Well, there are other set of beings also for other swarasthanas because there are more permutations combination occurring, which I'll show you in the diagram beside. But this is the standard set for most of the Carnatic music.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Who is this?
Sir, this is Dhruv.
Dhruva, tell me.
Sir, what's a heron? What's being or bird?
Bird. It's a bird. Google heron, you'll get a bird. I
Okay.
thought of putting the pictures of all these animals, but I think I couldn't get time. So you can try to gather. All other things you understood, no? Except for heron. Heron is like that bird with a big beak, there's a beak. You'll understand.
Okay.
Krauncha is a very famous bird.
Yes.
In fact, if you read Ramayana, there's a story of how Valmiki started the Ramayana, that there's a hunter. Usually people say pigeons, but it's a Krauncha Pakshi, they say. Krauncha means the hunter actually kills one of the couple birds and the other bird starts crying. Looking at that, Valmiki utters a curse to the hunter, but it turns out if you rearrange the same cursing words just to give spaces differently, it turns out to be a praise to the Lord Omnipresent. That is when he discovers that he has discovered the first poetic meter, and that is why we call Valmiki as Adikavi. That means he's the first poet in India after the Vedic era to poetically bring out something. So there you will hear the word Krauncha. Anyway, going forward, if you look at this, this is called the Sudarshana Chakra. Basically, it gives you the permutations and combinations of the 7 swaras in all of their varieties, giving you 72 total structures called ragas. This is very unique to Indian system whose base is in Samaveda. Once we have the ragas, we call this the father or the parent raga. From this, you can take, I hope you all know permutations and combinations, right? So out of 7 swaras, you can take 5 out of 7, 6 out of 7, or 4 out of 7 swaras and make what are known as the daughter ragas or Janya ragas, Janaka ragas and Janya ragas. That is how Indian music is filled with a vast variety of ragas, and we have every raga for every mood or every feel that you want to convey in a situation. So we are more organized and mathematically organized, you can say, in terms of music. Its basis occurs from the Samaveda. In the Samaveda, many instruments names have also been mentioned, which means in singing the Veda, they don't just sit and sing like this. There should be musical instrument, there should be banging of the drums, playing of the flute, playing of the veena. Many instruments are there, like dundhubi, membrane instruments like tabla, mridangam, etc. What we have now are modernized versions of very ancient instruments. Veena, the stringed instrument that you see with steps. Shankharmam, like conch. Adambara, from the Udumbara wood, we get this instrument. Gargara, or the war trumpet. Nalihi, it is similar to the flute. Aditya see, that's someone, okay. And Pinga, the single lyre. It's a single strings instruments. Like you see, in villages, someone who is of the okay. The next. So what do we want to convey there? Basically, if you see the whole of the Samaveda thing, it has the whole structure of the music in it, along with the instrument in it, and it takes the Rigveda and expands on it. So it is one of the beautiful, melodious, and variety infused. Vaibhav, did you want to speak? The next, we have Yajurveda and Atharvana Veda. Yajurveda is twofold. We have Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda. So Krishna Yajurveda is a mix of explanations and mantras. Shukla Yajurveda is mostly bright, clear, and separate. It has a separate distinction of the two. What Yajurveda means, the word Yajus means a plan or a ritual. It is a procedure which is arranged in accordance with the plan of creation. So different yajnas or the Yajus in the Vedas convey to us via the physical drama and the mental drama, the plan of the creation happening around us. basically certain principles for us to understand. The Yajus mantras guide the actions performed as yajna in accordance with the Rik mantras. Yajus mantras are of rhythmic prose. They provide the power for the right orientation of action leading to wisdom. The mantras of this Veda are chanted in the rites, but Yajurveda itself has no details for performing the rites, which means no killing of animals is proposed by this or any Veda in the name of sacrifice. All the animal sacrifices we see are post-Vedic developments done by some sect of people. But if at all someone attributes it to the Veda, I do not agree, nor the persons who know the contents of the Veda do agree with that. Because there is no word for killing an animal in the Veda, no context there. All the sacrifices mentioned in the Veda are symbolic and much deeper than what we understand to the outer sense. Now, then how is it misunderstood? It is because when the English translations have happened later on, people often quote to suggest the animal sacrifice, the English translations of Griffiths, Wilson, and there are some other, Max Muller and these people. But they did not understand the context of the Veda, nor they have ever undergone the Vedic training. So we reading their translation in supporting the killing of animals with the Veda is very utterly wrong. That's my take, and I stick to that. If anyone proves me wrong, I'm ready, but not only me, Professor R.L. Kashyap himself has written extensively a full chapter in his book called Essentials of Yajurveda on how the animal sacrifices have come to being and how it wasn't there during the Vedic era in the name of the Veda. So I stopped there. From here, from Yajurveda onwards, we'll continue again.